Hey everybody, Modulus the Gamer, or Always Dizzy here. So I love Lichess, obviously. That's the main site I play on. I play on it almost every day. Whenever I'm streaming, it's always on Lichess. And as much as I love it, I just thought there are a few things that could be improved. And I thought I'd make a video just kind of showing some of these ideas that I think could be made to improve it. There's nothing dramatic. I know that a lot of people might have ideas that they would like to add, like things like hand and brain and stuff like that, which would all be good, but I'm trying to give smaller ideas that could be implemented fairly easily, fairly quickly, and without huge change to the site. So just little life quality of life improvements. So if Thibaut Duplessis is watching, the creator of Lichess, maybe you can get some of these implemented. I know that he did stop by my stream one day. Anyways, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Right, Thibaut Duplessis. I did some research, so hopefully that's right. Okay, so I've got a notepad file here on my other screen that you can that I'm going to be referencing throughout this video, and I'll try to make this video not super long because it could get kind of dry. Okay, so first of all, on the analysis screen, so let me just load up a game. So let's just say this game here. Okay, so on the analysis screen, and I don't know if anybody else, if this annoys anyone else, but it does me. Basically, and I might have to move my webcam thing here, but when basically the opening name here, this little header, it scrolls down with the move list, and I often find because like once you get past like move 8 or so, it will disappear. Actually, once you get past move 1, it's gone. And so it's very annoying because like when you're in move 5 or whatever, you might want to know what the opening is, the opening name, and then you always have to scroll back up. So what I would like to see is if this was basically static, if this was fixed to the top and frozen, and it doesn't scroll with the move order list. I know it does take a tiny bit more real estate away, but it's very annoying. I mean, this is the analysis screen again, so it's not like you need that real estate for something else. So yeah, I would really like that if this remained frozen, because I can't. Almost every time I'm analyzing a game, I always have to scroll up even a couple times because I may forget, especially if it's a longer name. So if that could be frozen, that would be awesome. That's actually on the top of my list of things. Okay, another thing that I thought would be useful is on a player, just going to use this random player here. It'd be nice if we could add notes to a player, like our own personal notes that only we can see. So maybe we have another little icon here, and then just a note screen. We can just type in whatever we want. Now, I guess there could be some argument against that because maybe you could put in some notes like, oh, this player likes to play the Sicilian, this line, what so on. But I mean, if you really wanted to do that, you could actually just do that manually, or I mean, I don't think that would really be an issue. But why I would like this is because I think it would be useful to simply like to remember why I blocked someone. So maybe I blocked someone. There could be different reasons why I blocked someone. Maybe I suspected them of cheating. Maybe they were rude to me. Maybe they were kind of throwing games, and so the rating was not reflective of their true skill, stuff like that. Or maybe, who knows, right? So that, but that's just one idea. And the other one is maybe I would like to have a note on them and why I have them on my friends list, right? Like I forgot who they were. Why did I add them? Oh yeah, I played them in a tournament 2 years ago, or they were really nice to me, or we agreed to help each other out, whatever. So I think it would be nice to have a little notes notes section. It's interesting because you can actually do notes on a game. So if I go here, you can actually do notes on a game, but you can't do notes on a player. And I think putting notes on a player is much more useful than having notes on a specific game. Yeah. Okay. So that's point number 2, or suggestion number 2. Suggestion number 3. Again, I'm going to use this guy as an example. Let's see if he's okay. So it's actually a good example here. So I would like to see a bigger penalty for players with low game completion rates, or if not possible to do that, or in addition to have the ability to like filter games by people with game completion rates when you're looking for a game. Because I know I'm not the only one here, but there's a large number of players who have a really low game completion rate. And if you think about it, 50% is actually the lowest you can go. So the fact that this guy has 73% means that he's basically letting he's abandoning, or like letting his time run on half of his games. Actually more than half, because again, if you think about, so 50% is as low as you can go, because you will usually lose half your games, right? So if you lose half your games and then 73%, so that means that basically half of the games that this guy lost, he's not completing. He's like just switching tabs or whatever. And often that means that we have to wait. And I know how annoying it is to wait. Sometimes you have to wait like 10 minutes for a guy, because like he's salty, and then he makes you wait for 10 minutes. And it's as a streamer, the chess streamer, it's even more annoying, because I'm sitting there waiting for 10 minutes for the game to finish, because the guy doesn't want to complete it. Now, sometimes people will get disconnected. Sometimes people might get an important phone call, or somebody goes to the door or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. That happens, right? Obviously. But when you are doing that in like half of your losses or more, that is chronic, and people are doing that on purpose. So I would like to see a bigger penalty for that, or because right now I think there's no penalty. There might be some warning, like, oh, there's the warning, but if there is a penalty, it's definitely not detrimental to anyone, and doing these things. So I would like to see bigger punishment for that, or else being able to, when I look for games, that I can filter out by a certain percent, like people must have 95% or better. Okay, so that's my third suggestion. Next one, another small one here is on the profile. If we edit it, there are options here, and I know that my webcam is kind of covering a couple things here, but basically there's only options here to enter a USCF or ESCF rating, which is the English or British rating system. So there's the only two national systems here that are offered are USCF and British, and there's FIDE too, but that's an international one. So as a Canadian, I feel a little bit left out here, because I can't enter in my CFC rating. So I know that the problem here is if you add Canada, well, then why don't you add like Uganda or whatever, right? Or Germany and so on. So you don't want to have like 200 different fields, but couldn't you add or even replace these fields with an option to choose, like you can enter in your country or your nationality or the abbreviation for your national chess federation, and then just enter in the rating? That would make more. That would include everybody. It would be inclusive to everybody. So, for example, if I could enter in CFC and then enter in my rating, that would be great. I just feel a little bit excluded here. That's all. Okay. Next up. Okay, this one I can't do on screen, but basically the app, the mobile app for Lichess, and I think it may be being phased out just because when Lichess 2.0 came out, it's more mobile friendly. But the Lichess app is very good, but it would be nice if I was able to create studies from the app, because right now, as far as I know, you can't. And it would be very useful when for example, when I go to the chess club, I might want to like analyze a game or enter in an opening or something and save it to a study, but I can't. I believe that you can view studies, and it's a little bit awkward to view studies as well, but you cannot create studies from the app. So that would be a nice feature to have there. Okay, getting back to the website, I would really like to see improvements made to the coach's page. So right now you can sort by these fields here, but there's a million different coaches right now. If I had to guess, there's probably, I don't know, a few hundred, maybe 300 coaches, and it's really hard to decide and filter out what you would who you'd like to hire. So I would like there to be filters in place where you can filter by things like well, most important is rate. So you could do a rate range, like $20 to $30, and also a rating range, because maybe you want to pay a little bit lower, but then you're also fine with lower rated coaches, and so on. Like how often they're on, like last time online, whatever. It'd be nice to have them filters in here, because right now it's really hard to choose a coach. One other thing. It'd also be nice if pagination was added, because right now you just have to scroll over and over again a million times at the bottom, and then it just loads again, and then it's really, really hard to find. It's just really hard to use this feature. It just goes on forever. So if you have pagination, so like page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on, that would be a little bit helpful as well. Also, Lichess changed their policy, which I think is a decent policy, of where they are only accepting titled players now for coaches. So I can understand that, so they don't have an endless amount of people added to this page. But at the same time, I'm wondering if they should not include the grandfathered option here, because basically there's some players here that don't have a title, but they're still listed as coaches. Just for example, this person here I just came across. So there's a number of them, not a huge number, but maybe 5 to 10% aren't actually well, maybe not, yeah, but maybe 5% aren't actually titled players, but they're on this sheet. This is another one right here. So it just seems slightly unfair for other people that may want to be a coach and they can't apply, but there's other people that don't have a title but they're still on here. The other option would be to change their policy and maybe allow untitled players, but they should have a certain rating, like maybe players rated 2,000 and up or so. Okay, that's it. Oh, and one last thing. There was, I think Lichess might want to consider the way that they do the reviews, because I believe that anyone can just leave a review. And I guess you have to be logged on to do it, so that helps a little bit. But I think Lichess should be a little careful here in how it does reviews, because earlier, like a while ago, I was considering just looking at coaches, considering hiring a coach, and I saw a coach with a really cheap rate, and then I noticed in the reviews, at least one review was made by his sister, who is also a coach on Lichess. But I mean, the sister, who's a coach and chess player, was leaving a review for her brother, and it's very fishy. You know what I mean? So, it could be gamed a little bit, So, just to help avoid fraud or something. I don't know what could be done to really improve it. Maybe removing the reviews completely. I know that like the transactions don't go through Lichess, so you can't make it by people that I've actually paid. But so I don't really know how that could be improved, but just something to possibly consider. That because right now it's like anyone, I could leave a review for this person right now, giving them 1 star if I wanted, So yeah. Okay, moving on. I'm going to talk about the practice area now. And I love this section. This is awesome. I've completed everything a long time ago, and I thought it's just beautifully done. Very simple and slick and clean, and very useful for beginners, and even for advanced players. Something like the knight and bishop mate, which I learned. I had to use some other sources as well, but I did like. It was very helpful for me, and I learned it from. I can do it backwards. I can do it upside down. Literally, well, not literally upside down, but I mean on the board, right? I can do it from the side, upside down, all of these like darts. Yeah. And that was very helpful. So basically, I would just like to see more stuff added here. I would like to see maybe more advanced things, possibly more endgame things. So maybe something like rook versus bishop, or like anything that is a theoretical forced win, or even theoretical draws and so forth to be added would be very useful. Stuff that there are patterns. So, for example, I don't think they might not have the double bishop mate here. It's a fairly easy one to learn, but if they could just add in just more content here, this content has not really been changed for a very long time. And if you could have more advanced stuff, that would be really, really cool. Even things like adding in the just simple techniques such as like the Philidor's defense and Lucena position. Again, these are basic ones that I know, but if they could add in more stuff, yeah. Again, like as I say, like rook versus bishop, or yeah, I don't know. It'd just be nice to have some more content there. Okay, getting back to the analysis again. I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I'm not sure if they're like what Lichess is using for their opening. For their opening names, if they're using like maybe like the ECO system or whatever, but a lot of the names differ from elsewhere. So in Wikipedia, it might be named something else. And I know that you can't, there's nothing, you can't make the opening name, because there's multiple names for the same opening. So I know that they have to choose one, but some of them seem a bit outdated. So for one that comes off the top of my head is the London, right? So it's actually not called the London. They just call it like the Indian system. So yeah, so it's just like the Indian game here, or even here it's still going to be called. Now it's called the Mason attack. So I don't know, but this is the tiniest little thing. This is more of a question. I don't know. Like I don't know if this is this like technically correct? Is London more of a like a casual name for the opening? I don't know, but it's like it took me a long time to realize that this was the London. I had to learn elsewhere because I always assume that this is exactly the name of the opening. Anyways, very small side note there. Lastly, and I'm sure I'll come up with other stuff in the future, but this is just my big list of things now. It'd be nice if at least one thing from this list was implemented by Lichess. Okay, so lastly, occasionally you run into cheaters. Let's see if I have any recently here. Yeah, here's one from 2 weeks ago. Okay, it doesn't show, but so you can see here that it says you lost to a cheater, refund 8 blitz rating points. And I know that I'm not the only one on this, but first of all, it's awesome that you get your points refunded and that Lichess has a really good policy and stance against cheaters. But it would be very useful and helpful and just nice if Lichess showed who cheated against you or which game it was. So maybe just link to the game, because then you can find out who it was. I'm not sure why they don't do that now. Maybe they don't want to rock the boat too much, but I mean, the players are the banned, the cheater is already going to be shadow banned. So why not show who it is? And more importantly, with a little bit of detective work, you can find out anyways. I mean, it's just a bit annoying to do so, because that game where that person was banned might have been from 4 days ago. And then you gotta scroll through your games. You got to find which game that you lost, and then you got to find out, like, you got to match the number of rating points that you were refunded. But you can find out. It's just a little bit of a hassle. So since you can find out anyways, you might as well show it. Plus, it seems like my right to know, right? It seems like my right to know who cheated against me and what game it was. So that would be very nice if Lichess showed that, because it's just nice to know which game, because it's just nice to know, because you might have played a great game, but then you lost, and yeah. So those are my list. I don't know. I have maybe 10 items there or so, 10 to 12 or so. If even just one of those things were implemented, I'd be a happy camper. But again, overall, I love Lichess. It's a fantastic site. These are just things that I came up with that could be improved further. So that's my video, and thanks for watching.